Alright, so chat, let us take a look at Rev's kind of new video about Azur Lane and how they had to remove outfits to comply with Google's censorship requirements. So, let's take a look-see.
Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So if you've been following this channel for some time, you've probably noticed a concerning and growing trend where a lot of powerful entities are using their influence to censor what they consider morally problematic artwork, in particular, those being produced on Japanese platforms and by anyone making anime-styled artwork. Now, we've seen the usual suspects like...
And pausing right away. He's right. We've seen in the last several years the puritanical West, like, losing their shit over Japanese anime and Japanese anime games. They are completely losing their shit over everything. We saw it with Stellar Blade. Before Stellar Blade even came out, the West was going fucking crazy and I'm pretty sure they forced the game devs to make some of Eve's outfits more modest than they're originally supposed to be. Because people in the West, a tiny percentage, are saying, "Oh, won't you think of the children?" Like, you have this small percentage of people that are absolutely terrified of sexy because they think it's still the 1950s and showing ankle will cause men to lose their shit and just run around ripping women's clothes off or something. I don't fucking know. But it's 100% you can blame the bullshit puritanicals of the West who don't understand how fucking reality works for all of this bullshit.
Chase and MasterCard threatened to pull their payment services from various platforms and services because they find certain artwork problematic, and it leaves the target with a get down or lay down situation where either they have to self-censor and lose the respect of the people frequenting their service or products and then keep the payment service, or they say F you to these people.
Evan, let's not fuck with it. The SJAs complaining about sexy women aren't pissed about objectification. They're pissed because the women are far more sexy than they are, and they hate the fact that their husbands and boyfriends would much rather look at these sexy girls in Azur Lane and other anime and video games than look at them. Because they think that their men should just spend all of their waking hours catering to them, and the fact that they might actually want to look at these sexy anime girls offends them for that reason alone. And as far as the parents, like with kids playing it, yeah, it's parents sticking a tablet in their kids' hands and saying, "Here, entertain yourself," and then losing their shit when their kid finds gacha games like Azur Lane and are like, "Oh my god, sexy anime girls, my poor child's brain will be corrupted by the evils of sexy anime waifus." Wake the fuck up. It's the 21st goddamn century. Chances are your sweet little angels have seen a fuckload worse than sexy anime waifus. I guarantee it. If this is getting your panties in a twist because they're too sexy, check your kid's fucking internet history. Guarantee you, they are on the hub or one of the hub's, less popular known cousins. Okay? Do not try and bullshit me that you actually give a fuck about your kids, we can't expose them to sexiness. 'Cause guess what? They've already seen it 100 times over by the time you've found them playing Azur Lane.
lose their payment service and pretty much lose their monetization and eventually probably shut down. And we're seeing this happen once again with the Google Play Store, and that's not too surprising to see Google trying to censor anything like this. And the latest target is, of course, Azur Lane. Here's the headline saying Azur Lane is being forced to remove multiple outfits to comply with Google's censorship requirements. Here is the post from the official Azur Lane Twitter account. And there's a lot of things going on here, especially a lot of very confusing things that we'll break down. But let's start here. Dear Commander, HQ regrets to inform you that due to unforeseen circumstances related to the Google Play Store policy, we will be ending the sale of certain outfits. The following outfits will be removed from sale in the outfit shop on all servers after January 4th. So basically, it's this has already been completed. But
now I'm curious because I can see at the bottom they're going to talk about this. What about the people that have already purchased it? And I know he's probably going to talk about it in a couple seconds here, but that would be my first thought. Are they going to remove them from players' accounts and refund them the currency that they spent? Well, when you would think that would be the logical thought. That okay, I paid for these, I'm keeping them. But my guess is that they may rip them out of your account because there's probably a TOS thing that will allow them to do it. But we'll see. He's probably I can already tell he's gonna be getting to it in a few seconds.
there's going to be a little caveat to that in a second. We're going to talk about it. But first, here's a list of the outfits that are being affected by this change. And to give you an example, here's one of them. Okay, like, my goodness, I can't believe it. A big-tittied anime girl in a bikini in a gacha game? I can't believe this. It's so ridiculous because in Azur Lane...
Oh, I'm gonna get the vapors from seeing a big-titty waifu in a bikini. Oh, I can't handle it, chat. Oh. Seriously? These kids probably see just as bad as this or worse at the fucking beach. For God's sake. Bearing in mind, okay? I will probably bring this up again in this video, but let us not forget, chat. Let us not forget. Google is forcing this. Google is forcing the censorship of these gacha girls in Azur Lane because it's too sexy, right? That's why Google is forcing this with the Google Play Store. I will remind you, a chat, and everyone that happens to maybe be watching this video. YouTube, whom is owned by Google, has naked yoga, full nudity yoga, and sheer clothing try-on hauls where you are seeing a woman's bare tits underneath literal, just sheer clothing. And you're even seeing her lower half, too, in some, depending on what she's wearing. That is on YouTube right now. But Google is saying, oh, big titty anime waifus in a bikini is too much. But the naked yoga and completely sheer clothing try-on hauls by big titty girls, we're cool with that. We're absolutely cool with that. Well, it's like Tornado, like, yes, people are gonna push it and try and upload corn onto YouTube. And just to try and do it, like, these are like people that are just fucking with YouTube. What I'm talking about with the try-on hauls and the naked yoga, those are like big fucking monetized channels that have got a fuck ton of videos on their channels. And Google and YouTube/Google is like, we're cool with this. But they're not cool with an anime girl in a bikini. It kind of sounds familiar to what's been going on YouTube and Twitch, doesn't it, chat? What the fuck is with the what the hell is with social media companies hating anime girls? They hate anime girls in gacha games, and they hate the anime girls with VTubers. They, like, what is with this hatred toward anime girls right now? I don't fucking get it. Yeah, they see that because they're uneducated fucks who don't actually understand context. That's why they think it attracts the PDFs.
Lane itself, there are way looter outfits than this that are not being touched, and there's also way looter outfits in other gacha games that are not being cracked down, like Azur Lane right now. And what's even weirder is that outfit has been out for years. So why is it all of a sudden such a big problem that it needs to be affected by these changes? But the way these outfits are being affected is also very confusing based on this right here. So, Commander who have purchased these outfits before January 4th will not be affected. You will continue to have full ownership of these outfits. Additionally, eventually this event and yada, yada, yada. So what they're saying is if you purchased this outfit before this deadline that just passed, you get to keep it totally unaffected. Which the tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist says, maybe this was the greatest marketing ploy of all time to make people feel like these outfits were going away so they would be compelled to buy it right now. But in reality, you have Google making some very weird decisions here.
This is... excuse me. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. Yeah, Alex, that's
crazy is that Sanano's Visions of Fantasy skin is tame compared to the same Conson's Dreamy White Sands skin. The L2DDWS skin even has a starfish pulling the top.
Yeah, that's what Rip was saying, is that there are far more scandalous outfits in the game that are not being touched. And what I'm thinking is happening is the makers of Azur Lane, Google probably said, we're gonna shut you down unless you do some censorship. And this was like the bare minimum they could get away with for doing censorship. They basically were doing their best to try and play Google by just saying, it could maybe Google actually pointed these outfits out. When they said, you've got to censor, we've seen this outfit, this outfit, this outfit, this outfit, and we think it's too much. And they just said, okay, cool, we'll pull those outfits and not even mention the other ones. So maybe that's why they elected to pull these outfits and not touch the other one, because Google said, we have a problem with these outfits for whatever reason. McCargill, I don't even know if Azur Lane has male characters in swim trunks. I don't play Azur Lane, so I have no idea if that is a thing or not. I didn't think it would. I didn't think so. But yeah, it seems like this is just the makers of Azur Lane. Google pointed these out specifically. Azur Lane said, cool, we'll get rid of them. And Google said, okay, we're going to leave you alone. And that's what they did. And the people at Google just I don't know, maybe they had some people reeing at them because they saw these specific outfits, and that's it. Those are the only outfits they saw.
And again, how do you really deal with the fact that this outfit is so problematic, these series of outfits are so problematic, that they can no longer be available for sale, but they can still exist in the game for people who already have them? That doesn't make any sense, right? But also on top of that, people are starting to ask, who is responsible?
J10, let's see if I can do this without losing my spot. So we had Shinano Visions of Fantasy, Napoli Dreamy Night, Hindenburg Delirious Duel, Cheetos Summer Shine, and Atco Summer March. So, there you go.
Conspiracy theorist says, they can really deal with the fact that this outfit is so problematic, these series of outfits are so problematic, that they can no longer be available for sale, but they can still exist in the game for people who already have them. That doesn't make any sense, right? But also on top of that, people are starting to ask, who is responsible for all of this? And there's been several different claims, but this one is...
Daddy Blue, thank you for the follow. Oh, yeah, here we go. This was going to be my next guess, is that someone went to Google bitching and moaning, and Google, just to placate, said, okay, Azur Lane, take out a couple. If somebody's bought them, leave it. It was just a placate.
Claiming that this was a Google takedown request, which usually involves a specific report from someone towards the app directly. So like in this case, maybe Timmy was running up his mom's credit card on Azur Lane. She finds out what it's being spent towards her credit card, and she finds out it's being spent on these impure Chinese cartoons, and now she wants to speak to the manager, essentially. And then Google reviewed it and started punishing Azur Lane. And whether or not it is Google going off on their own volition to target Azur Lane, or they're responding to complaints about the game, either way, it's a bad situation where censorship...
I'm gonna take a guess that Google actually didn't want to do this. I'm gonna kind of give Google a bit of a benefit of the doubt here and say that they didn't want to do this. They had a bunch of fucking Karens reading up a storm at them, and instead of telling these dumb fucking Karens to kindly go fuck themselves, grow the fuck up, and if you're worried about little Timmy running up credit card, buying Azur Lane outfits, maybe you need to get a lock on your fucking security card, your credit card, instead of using the tablet to teach your children. Like, Google does not have the balls to do something like that. And so instead they just capitulated to just shut them up. And Azur Lane basically said, okay, we'll do this. And Google said, fine, we can make an announcement that, look, we actually did something. That's what this is starting to sound like more and more. And, like, shame on Google for not, like, growing a pair and telling these fucking Karens, get a life. Get your kid offline if you're so, like, worried about them running up your credit card bill, and actually be a fucking parent to your children. And they just capitulated. Because, yeah, Google is making a shit ton of money off of Azur Lane and all their skins. Gacha games are a absolutely mammoth bankroll for Google right now. Gacha games are the most popular games in the App Store, and people will spend money hand over fist to get these skins, to get packs, to try and get these skins. So yeah, they probably didn't want to do it. They probably didn't want to pull the skins. They probably didn't want to do any of this because they just actually cut into Google's money a little bit. And by doing this, it might have cut into it even more. Because now people are gonna be pissed. And how many people are... Not many. I imagine not many of them are gonna be like, okay, I'm done with this shit now and never play the game again. A very small amount may do that. But now they're not gonna be able to make as much money. Oh, Numi and Cinder, J10. Numi and Cinder have a problem something with the gacha games. They've spent like thousands of dollars on stream with these gacha games, I'm sure. So, yeah, like, Google should have told these Karens that were reading to go kick sand and act like a fucking adult and actually parent your children if you're so worried about your children being exposed to these hot anime waifus. If you're so worried about it, put parental controls on your kids' fucking devices so they can't download it in the first place. Be a responsible parent. Be a responsible human fucking being. Yeah, Google should be telling these people to shut the fuck up, but they won't. Because companies fucking capitulate these days.
Is affecting the ability to make art. And that is not a good thing. And whether, I say this all the time, whether it's some Puritan or someone who's woke, they all can agree on one thing, and that is their hatred of anything anime styled. Anything that looks like an anime girl, they want it censored, they want it banned, just because they find it personally problematic.
And how many of these Karens hate anime because of there was an old YouTube video. I forget how long ago it was. It was a while ago. How many of these Karens saw a YouTube video, either this one or a similar one to this, that was basically entitled "Don't Jerk Off the Sailor Moon"? Are any of you guys familiar with this with this video? This YouTube video is gotta be at least a decade old. I can't remember how long ago it was that I saw it. Yeah, it is an ancient one, and I'm sure more have been made in that vein since then. But basically, it's a content creator put something on YouTube that said, you know, young men that basically jerk it to hot anime girls, it basically fucks up their brain and essentially creates like an addiction so they can only get off to anime girls and real girls like don't do it for them anymore or something like that. I forget exactly what they said. It was a long time ago it was a while ago that I saw this, and I'm sure it's not the only one. What do you want to bet these Karens, these mothers that don't know how to parent, saw videos like this and like, oh, my precious little angel I don't want my precious little angel to become brain damaged by jacking off to hot anime girls. We need to stop this immediately. What do you want to bet? That's the source of the anger from all of these women. And maybe even men, like maybe fathers too, who the fuck knows, but these people that are so pissed off about hot anime girls in media, in content. What do you want to bet?
Instead of just avoiding something that they don't like, they want it completely removed. And woke people and Puritans, they agree on that. They'll weaponize censorship to target something they don't like artistically. But anyways, here's some of the responses. The most liked reply saying, I am sure this may fall on deaf ears, but as a customer since 2017, I have started to see a concerning amount of censorship from the West.
Zeb? Yes. I fully admit it. Yes. I like sexiness. I like sex stuff. Yes. I am a pervert. I am a hentai. I will sweetly admit it.
We want Azur Lane to be able to express to gamers as you see fit. I implore you, create your own launcher or something to not be tied down to these censorship policies. Now, that is a very good point. This is something I've been dumbfounded by for many years. Why don't popular gacha games like Azur Lane have a PC client or have their own launcher? Like, it's absolutely... I just don't get it. Like,
I think I may possibly know the answer to this. Because using app stores like Google Play and iOS App Store is a more streamlined avenue for getting in more people. If they have their own launcher, sure, they can make their own rules, and they don't have to follow the rules of Google or Apple. Certainly, if they do their own launcher. However, how do people get into the gacha games in the first place? They get into them because they're perusing through the App Store. They see hot anime girls, the advertisements on the mobile games. Because don't forget, how many mobile games come built in with ads? And how many of those built-in mobile game ads are gacha games? That when somebody's playing a game and they get an ad, and it's, say, Azur Lane or some other gacha game, and they're going, holy shit, hot anime waifus, I'm going to check that out and tap. If they had their own launcher, they would not have that level of exposure to their games. That's very likely why they have not created, why they have not created their own launcher and why they still mainly platform on Google Play and iOS. Is they are getting far more exposure to new customers via those platforms versus their own launcher. It's kind of simple logistics. If they had their own launcher, they would need to spend more money into advertising. And with on the Android and iOS platforms, the advertising is built in for them. They don't need to do a fucking thing. The popularity of it puts it ranked high up in the algorithm on the stores, so people are constantly being exposed to them. It's honestly a pretty simple metric why they go that route instead of their own platform.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just totally out of the know, but there's no way that a cost benefit analysis of having a PC client does not work in favor of actually having it. There's just no way. They're missing out on a lot of additional customers and exposure because it'll be easier to stream the game. It's just a very weird decision and something that I just don't get. But anyways, on top of that, we're seeing this whole part about trying to avoid these censorship policies, and that is one way to do that, right? Mm-hmm. It's not foolproof, but it's one way to avoid having to basically live at the whim of the Google Play Store. And this is the dramatic soapbox moment, but I can't imagine if Azur Lane came out with a different approach to this and said, you know what, the Google Play Store is trying to censor us. We're tired of it. We're going to create our own launcher and basically say F
That'd
you.
Be base.
People would go crazy.
That'd
be
base
viewed
as
unbelievably based, and people would go crazy supporting Azur Lane, applauding them as they make that decision. But of course,
yeah, like in terms of advertisement, I said like they use like they Google and iOS for advertisement, but if they made their own launcher and then reached out to the VTubers that play the shit out of these games with sponsorships, holy fuck, you cannot get better advertisement than having cute, hot, fun VTube anime girls playing your game on stream, dumping a shit ton of money on stream, and getting incredibly excited whenever they pull a ship girl that they've been looking for. That's the best advertisement you can get. So if they created their own launcher and then reached out to these VTubers that play their games and said, listen, we want to do a sponsorship with you. You guys are already playing our games. Do you want to make some money while you play it? You don't think they'd jump on it in a heartbeat? Of course they would. So yeah, that does feel like a missed opportunity. Oh, I'm sure they have done collabs, homely, but they can make a real push. They can make a real push if they reached out to more of the mainstream, not with like the excuse me. Oh my god, excuse me. Not with like the shoujo or any of those other ones, but reach out to VTubers like Cinder, like Numi, like Tricky, like Bao, that go fucking crazy over these games and have huge audiences. That would be a money fucking making machine. Raven, she plays Azur Lane and Nikkei equally. Like she plays them both equally. So yeah, this could absolutely be a money making machine for them if they just go all in with their own launcher and reach out to VTubers. Now, hi Quee. Quee! I was just talking about rats that come in to join my stream. Everybody, Quilana is one of my rats. She's one of my rats. Hi, Quee. So yeah, I mean, granted, I would be a bad person to reach out because I don't play the gacha games. But there are plenty of big VTubers that do. Absolutely.
Of course, it's a very risky one, and I don't think a lot of these companies want to go anywhere else other than the Google Play Store, and that's just unfortunately the way it is. But there's some other discussions about this where people are saying the rating system is a bit of an issue, that the age of this, by the way, the age rating is T for teen. Azur Lane is T for teen, which should surprise you because, yeah, it's your big titty waifu gacha game. Like, it definitely should be 17 plus or M for mature, what have you.
Lately,
and it is T for teen, but that is what makes this even more confusing because as a kind of a logical extension here, if the Google Play Store looked
Okay,
at
Xanax,
Azur
have
Lane
a
and
good
said
night.
these outfits are so bad they gotta go entirely, they're saying in effect everything else is fine. And not only is it fine to exist on their platform, it's fine for a T for teen rated game, which is
Yeah.
even more confusing. And
Yeah.
also, it just shows that the rating system is just completely busted. I think everyone knows that,
Oh, yeah.
right? There's games like
The rating system in video games has been fucked for decades. Let's not mince words here. Game rating systems are completely fucked. Because the reality is you have you basically have like rated everyone, which is stuff like, I don't know, Animal Crossing and the new Zelda game where it's, where it's you're actually a Zelda and she's like it's a brick game or something like that. And everything else is like, okay, you're gonna have violence, you're gonna have swearing, you're gonna have big titty girls, you're gonna have naked titty girls. Suck the rating system. The rating system is what keeps games from excelling, honestly. There was an issue, like I vaguely remember something being said about Elite, where they had to like jump through some hoops, or there was something with the gameplay because it's rated like T for teen. So there were certain things that they had to change or couldn't put into Elite Dangerous because of that rating. Because if they actually have a mature rating, it has something to do with marketing or funding or something like that. Yeah, it is. And yeah, I think you're right. It's like the rating system. I don't remember if it was specifically Mortal Kombat. But it was back during that era that the rating system came into play because somebody got pissy about violence in video games, essentially.
Azur Lane that are T for teen, and they're doing that because they don't want to be labeled as N for mature, because they're not going to get pushed out the same way as if they are T for teen. And that's
No, it's
another
not,
weird.
Not anymore. Elite is not simply a ship game anymore. You can like get out on foot in Odyssey and go into settlements, and you can actually like kill NPCs on foot. So it's not just a ship game anymore.
Effect of censorship by Google, that these companies are trying to lower their rating as much as they can to basically survive on the platform and be treated better than they would if they were labeled as mature. And we've seen other companies have to deal with this whole situation of censorship from Google. We saw Blue Archive have to do the same thing to satisfy Google's censors by releasing basically 2 versions of the game, an all ages version as well as a 17 plus version, which again shows how ridiculous this whole system is, because Blue Archive is way
Western platforms and payment processors have been censoring products with increasing frequency. They censored outfits all feature characters wearing leotards, swimsuits, or bunny girl outfits. They have a problem with bathing suits. This is how fucking stupid these people are. It's not like they're wearing it's not like they're wearing strange outfits or swimsuits that are, back when girls would try and wear the bare minimum on the beach to avoid getting arrested. They're wearing leotards, swimsuits, and buddy girl outfits. And notice, Western platforms. This is all coming from the West because the West has got to stick up their ass. Literally compared to the rest of the world. Okay? North America, at least US and Canada, have got a giant stick up their ass when it comes to censorship versus basically the entire rest of the world. The entire rest of the world is like, hot girls? Clean, you're fine with it. The West? Namely North America? Oh, think of the children. We can't expose their tender young eyes to hot anime waifus. Meantime, over in fucking Germany, they're drinking beer at the age of 13. And getting like page 6 girls that are literally naked. Wait, what the fuck? The West needs to, like, get rid of their stupid fucking Puritan remnants from the 1600s. Like, seriously, they need to get this, they need to get a surgical procedure to remove the stick lodged 10 feet up their ass.
More tame than Azur Lane, and yet that's the one that has to have a 17 plus version.
Yeah, homely, and yeah, that's the dichotomy of it. Western Western censorship is so horrible about. Well, I mean, let's just play it how it is. In the West, if there's a beautiful woman and or a handsome man that is scantily clad, censor the fuck out of it. If it's a fucking drag queen or someone celebrating pride, let them do whatever the fuck they want. Think about that. You've got fucking drag queens wearing next to nothing, or like, people in pride that are wearing sometimes literally nothing. And these people are fine with it. They're totally fine with it. Why? Because D-fucking-E-I. God forbid a hot anime waifu is wearing a bikini. The West is fucked. And the people in charge of this shit need to have their heads forcibly removed out of their asses so they can stop sniffing their own fucking farts.
Than Azur Lane, and yet that's the one that has to have a 17 plus version. It's all very confusing, and it really shows that these rating systems are just completely busted, and all you have is these companies, and primarily ones from East Asia.
I know, I'm pluzzing a lot. I'm sorry. Zed, I understand what you're saying. And yes, I do agree that the general consensus is not people being fine. I'm not talking about people in general. No, they were not fine. I'm talking about the people in the upper echelons that are making these kinds of decisions like this. Those are the people that I'm talking about that are like, yeah, this is cool. People that are actual, like, intelligent and know what the hell they're doing, they're the ones like, no, this is not fucking cool with what we're referring to with the insanity that we see with some of the pride stuff. We're not talking about the average person on that. We're talking about the decision makers. That's who I'm referencing, then saying, oh yeah, that's cool, that's fine, we support that. That's who I'm referring to, not the general populace. So, in case that was unclear.
Trying everything in their power to navigate the censorship of the Google Play Store and having to strategize their ratings and how they approach things just to basically have their product exist on a platform that is an area where they can sell what they're making. And it's really frustrating. And now, because of situations like this, a lot of other Western outrage over gacha games and other East Asian games, we're seeing a lot of these gacha games starting to self-censor.
Understandable.
Especially on social media. And it's a very disturbing trend. We've seen this with other examples, but Brown Dust 2 did something like this where they released this trailer. I can't really play anything. This is as good as it's going to get. They have their name, their logo here.
Honestly, Andrea? Yes and no. It's, the censorship of lewd or sexualized stuff is what we're seeing back in the 50s, but it's twisted like fucking crazy. They twisted it because, again, and I'm talking about the decision makers here, not the general populace, they hate actual girls looking hot and being beautiful, but they're fine with the, essentially, the LGBT crowd can do whatever the fuck they want. And that's a problem. Because even people in the LGBT community are like, no, we are not asking for that. That's not what we're asking for. We're just asking to be treated like normal fucking people. We don't want you to say, yeah, LGBT, do whatever the fuck you want because DEI, we want to be normal fucking people. We don't agree with this either. So it's again, the decision makers are like championing something that people, even those they are supposedly championing, don't fucking want. Because they think, oh, we must be on the quote right side of history. And that isn't even a fucking thing anymore. The right side of history is not even really a thing anymore. There is no right or wrong side of history in the modern age. It's everybody is just pissed off because no one can just leave shit the fuck alone. That's where we're at. And there is no right side of history or wrong side of history, generally speaking. Yes, there is still stuff that is like extreme stuff that is the wrong side of history. I'm aware. But generally speaking, all of the shit that we talk about almost on a daily basis, there is no right and wrong side of history.
You're blocking out all of any bit of skin.
Wait,
Or
hang
released
on.
this trail. I can't really play anything. This is as good as it's going to get. They have their name, their logo here, blocking out all of any bit of skin on this trailer or on this preview here. And the Japanese version uploaded to their Japanese account is completely uncensored. So they are looking at the way people on the Western side of social media have been acting, and they're saying, well, we don't want to piss off those people. So clearly their outrage constantly about fan service and things like that is what they like over there. So we're going to self-censor to try to keep them happy, which is a very disappointing thing to see, that these companies feel like
how long before they stop marketing
the
over
pressure
here?
of services like the Google Play Store have to self-censor to avoid getting in trouble with them, or B, they have to self-censor to avoid outrage or pissing people off on social media on the Western side. It's very, very disappointing. It's
like how long before, you know, all of the popular media coming out of Japan, how long before Japan says, you know what, fuck it, it's not worth it, and just doesn't market to, just doesn't give a fuck about the Western audience anymore, like the North American audience. I know they make up a good chunk of sales, but they're popular throughout the entire world, and they'll be fine without the US audience. They will make it. So how long before Japanese entertainment stops coming to the West? Because when that happens, guarantee you, people are going to be pissed and they're going to make it known. Far more than the Karens are going to make it known. Okay? The Karens ring at Google is going to seem like pathetic whimpering compared to what people that love all the entertainment coming out of Japan, if Japan says, fuck it, we're not going to distribute to the US anymore. There will be an uproar like you would not fucking believe if or when that happens.
like the absolute state of everything going on. And on top of this, like looking back at this whole situation with Azur Lane, you can't even have an honest conversation about these things. And it's pretty disappointing. It's just the way Twitter and social media is right now. If you made a tweet right now saying something along the lines of, the Azur Lane situation is very concerning. I don't really care about the fan service, but I just don't think this game should be censored to satisfy these moral concerns from a bunch of weirdos, whether it's individual level or on a big level like at Google or with these payment processors. And I think we just should avoid playing these games we don't like instead of censoring them. Censorship is bad, actually. If you made a tweet like that, you'd probably get death threats within the first hour, because people just are so unhinged when it comes to these related topics, especially Azur Lane. We've talked about Azur Lane on both channels before. People going absolutely insane, threatening the developers because they make fan servicey games and outfits. And it's exactly what they're there for. Like, no one's surprised that the gacha game has a lot of fan service, but instead of just doing something else with their time, avoiding the thing they don't like, both woke people and Puritans decide they want everything censored, and it's ridiculous. It's really childish, and it's narcissistic. Their world has to revolve around them, because if they can't get their way, they want it removed for everyone else as well. And like I said, this is a very troubling trend here that's only getting worse, and it's something you can't even talk about. You can't even talk about censorship being weaponized like this, being a bad thing, without people just dismissing everything you say because they're like, oh, you're playing the Gooner game over here, and you basically really...
Or they'll call you an isterophobe. It's not even simple like, oh, you're playing the Gooner game. No, it's like if you say I like playing Azur Lane, they'll call you every isterophobe in the book, because that's their go-to, which is why I said that the words don't actually mean anything. And that if someone tries to argue and they pull out the istophobery, you just basically just say, I won, and walk away. If more people started doing that, honestly, if more people, if they are confronted either in person or online by someone saying, oh, you can't like this because liking this makes you an istophobic, then if your immediate response is to just either not say anything or just go, I win, and end the conversation and don't respond to a fucking thing said after that, let them read to their heart's content, this shit might actually stop. The only reason why these people continue to keep doing this is because they are getting oxygen. If the people that read online did not get any response, they'd stop, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the reaction. They're looking for the outrage. That's what they want. They feed off of it. They're essentially social vampires, feeding on the negativity. If you don't give it to them, and just kind of like someone calls you something and either you just don't respond, or you just, the minute they call you an istophobic, you just kind of go, I win, and don't say another fucking word, it will fade. It will fade. Like, chat, your assignment is, if you are on a social media and you receive a comment or a reply to something you have said, and the person replying immediately jumps to the istophobery commentating, don't respond, or literally just say, I win, and don't say another word. That is your assignment, my dear strays. And who knows, if enough people do it, if enough people follow that lead, the ringing jack-offs of the DEI nature will have nothing to fight against, and they will fade into nothingness. Well, there you go, Godfoot. Yeah, I mean, it's good for a couple things or something, but, win, good for you. I don't either. I don't go on social media either. Yeah. That's actually good. That's good. Yeah, and you know what? They would fight themselves. Let them. Let them rip each other apart. That's one thing about the DEI. They will not hesitate to devour one another in a heartbeat. And, Nova Catalyst, thank you for the follow.
Relinquished all of your human rights, and we can treat you any way we want because we're the morally superior ones. It's just an annoying cycle to see, and now Azur Lane is suffering as a result of it. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
And now, yeah. Unfortunately, it is, we are going to start seeing Japan withdrawing from the Western market, I feel. Yes, the Western market is a big market for them. But if it no longer becomes viable for them, where it's more of a headache than they're making profit out of it, I could see them withdrawing and just basically drawing back a little bit more and more and more until, yeah, absolutely. And the West will only have itself to blame. The people in the West gave these DEI asshats their power. You gave them their power. You have the ability to take their power away if you've got the balls to do it.